Hi, Joshua Collin here. Thought I'd do a quick update on the Simplicity. I got the lower unit back, the last time you saw me, I did the friction disc. After that, it would only run on primer, and so cleaned it once, didn't do it, cleaned it twice, did it. Didn't run, so I ended up buying a cheap carb. Just gotta tune it in. Not too bad, but I gotta wait till it's cold. That's the hard part with working on snowblowers when it's 70 degrees out, give or take. As you can see, there was lights here. Both those bulbs were blown, so I took them off, and I ended up sort of getting this running again. I removed the cheap splice tool for here, clean this just enough for the light bulb to light, so that's good. And the reason why I couldn't clean the original carburetor is because the main jet is pressed in and it's held in by O-rings, and you can't screw it out. So that's the reason why I couldn't get it to run, because I couldn't clean the main jet. This is just in here for when I go ahead and tune the carburetor when I get around to it. I also ended up replacing these gears in here. They were fairly simple. The plastic ones were roached. And one thing that you might not know is this bracket is slotted. That's how you adjust the lash on the gears. I also replaced this bushing, and this bushing, because they were a little worn out, and I figured probably about time. Yes, I know this isn't, when this handle is, when the chute is straight, that isn't straight. And in order to replace this, I had to take this off to drive this pin out, this roll pin out. In order to do that, I had to take this off. I also took this off and checked the bushing on that, and is fine. I had to take this tire up to Discount Tire and have them reseat the bead, because it was leaking right on the rim on this back side. I did get it back together. I did start it. It did run under its own, off the carb. Just didn't want to really idle. It probably needs a little bit more fuel on idle circuit, which is no big deal. So there's that. Yeah, so all I have to do is pull these bolts out, put that light back on, see if the lighting circuit works, the stator works, and possibly put this back on and see if it'll actually, I'll wait on that just to make sure it actually drives forward and backwards, because I didn't really get a good chance to try and run it because the carburetor wouldn't stay running. This Poland Pro is Randy's. He's a friend of mine. He was the old co-worker, and he asked me to give this just a quick service. As you can see, there's a lot of rust on the flywheel, because there was literally a nest of house insulation right here, and you actually can kind of see down there that there still is some. It does move forwards and backwards. I got it to run decent. I put some seafoam in the gas. I got to make sure that the fuel line is long enough to not follow with the starter, because I had to cut off a little bit because I was having a hard time getting the carburetor off. it was leaking a little bit, so I have a new bolt gasket. And the carburetor was missing a Welch plug. Yeah, there's supposed to be a Welch plug right there. I might end up having to replace this gasket, I don't know. I'll have to see when I get it back together. So I've been just waiting on the parts, and yeah, in order to replace the fuel line, you gotta pull the flywheel, which, and then the backing plate, which I'm hoping not having to have to do that. So I just have the muffler loose, just so I know where all the bolts go. Did move, so when I got it running, I did put some seafoam in there. That has a fixed main jet, which I kind of like those. They're a lot easier to clean, and you don't have to deal with that tuning. And but the problem is I started seeing fuzz get blown out of the cooling shroud, so I knew I had to pull the flywheel housing. So did that and cleaned it. And I kid you not, this whole area right here was full of insulation. Yeah, it was probably about that wide of a pile and about that tall. So there was quite a bit of insulation stuck under there. I'm gonna get that one back together, get this one back together. I know this one will run, I just had to deal with the leaking carb. Yeah, so I'll bring you back when I get this thing back together. I'll be right back, bye. I'm back. As you can see, it is idling and it's producing power. The only problem I gotta deal with now is when it's in first gear, it goes in reverse. So I gotta figure out why that is. But otherwise it runs, it moves, and it activates the auger. So to win, I just gotta do some fine tuning, and I don't think I'll have to adjust the idle jet because it was idling just fine. Everything's nice and warm. I'll probably give it, yeah, honestly, I don't know. So I call that a win. So, be right back. Sorry, I figured I better make an ending to the video. Both the Simplicity and the Pullman Pro are gone. They're back at their respective owners. Next project is this. It's like my Tecumseh 5-horse, where I got the governor set up. So I got to get it running so it's not on half choke. So simple carb clean, everything else works. And then this sucker, which is going to be a pain in the ass, pardon my language, but this is stuck. I know this is free and that side turns. So let's hope this is an easy fix. I'm probably gonna have to crack that gear case, and I'm gonna end up having to remount this back to this hole, then take care of the carburetor, because what's the use of, excuse me, not having both sides working when the engine doesn't run? So that's that. I know the engine runs, but it doesn't start when it's cold. Well, what do you do? So I'm gonna quickly give that sucker a clean. Only trouble I'm having is trying to find the model number for this sucker. I might be able to find it. I've looked and can't find anything for the engine. So let's hope to God I can easily fix this. So we did get rid of a bunch of scrap today, which was nice. Otherwise, I don't really have anything much. I thought I'd do a quick update to this last clip. I cleaned the carburetor on the Aaron's. The gasket split in half. It was doable. I ended up tightening the bolts, the nuts on the carburetor so much where I broke one of the ears. The other one's pretty cracked too. And I can't find any parts for this carburetor, so I was trying to save the gasket, and I ended up tightening it too much. So that carburetor's trash. Trying to find a new one. I don't think I will, because it's an old model Aaron's where it only has one drive belt, and that drives both the blower and the drive. So I emailed Carburetors Plus, see if they have anything that'll work. If not, it's gonna go bye-bye. It is what it is. And update on the Craftsman is I did get the blower, the impeller free. I pushed the remainder of the bolt out pretty easy. I unbolted them bearing on the housing side, and it literally popped apart. So it's free now, but I'm running into an issue where both sides that when they line up with a hole in the shaft for the shear pin, they hit the main drive shaft going into the gearbox. So got to deal with that, which shouldn't be too big. I just got frustrated with it and just moved on. So yep, thanks for watching. Please comment, rate, subscribe, and I'll see you next video. Bye.